Greetings and welcome to the channel, which I'm probably going to change the name of because I've just realised how generic the side project is, and the last thing I want to be is generic, right? So, in today's video we're going to be giving this Game Boy Color a bit of a clean. Wow, this is far further to the left than I thought it was. Okay, now I know. Right, and obviously with any kind of start to cleaning a Game Boy, we're going to have to open it, which involves me getting this tri-wing, this tri-wing, this tri-wing and this tri-wing out, and then the couple screws underneath this battery cover. So let's get started with that. And I'm going to keep all the screws nice and safe in there. And tap tap. Nope, I haven't unscrewed it enough yet to give it a tap. There we go. And this one. Sadly I don't have any exciting stories for today, except my dad did come to visit today, which was nice. It was good to see him. Haven't seen him for months now, but I'm sure that's not surprising to anyone, seeing as we've been in a nice little quarantine for a good few months now. My god, this screw doesn't want to come out. There we go. Just as I say that, it comes out straight away. Pop that nice and safe off screen. And just get these last two screws out. Nope, still not quite enough done there. There we go, that's more. Nope, still, jeez. There we go. And last one. There we go. You'll be noticing some pretty janky edits this video, because I'm trying to make sure things are at least filmed slightly better than they were last time. So please bear with me. Eventually I'll get a proper camera set up so I can actually, frame videos properly and actually be able to see what's happening whilst I'm doing the video. But yeah, let's have a look at the condition of the inside of the case. So for starts, oh, I think that's a bug. Ew. Okay, so I'm definitely going to get rid of that. This is held up pretty well, but I mean, as you can see, this is not properly clear. There's a bit of a yellow tinge around everything. And if we look in these screw terminals, they are full of someone else's skin. Isn't that lovely? But let's have a look at this PCB. I might give those a bit of a rub just to make them look a bit cleaner. That looks pretty okay. You know, everything else seems to be pretty alright. Except for maybe that little section. Come on, focus. That little section just there, which I might give a quick tidy with some IPA. Oh, I'm definitely going to clean some of the grot and grime off of this this power switch. That's nasty. Okay, and now it's time for me to get this PCB off of this side. So I'm going to need my trusty Phillips head screwdriver. Not that you can really see because my camera has no way to focus on anything close to it. To just get out these 3 screws. And after that, we get to see what the other side's like. Bit of lefty-loosey. And there we go. Pop that in here. Don't worry, I know which ones are which, because obviously the rest are all tri-wings. So as long as it's a Phillips head, it's going back in here, and if it's a tri-wing, it's going back in the other side. And another quick tap tap. Ooh, that's a strong magnet. There we go. And then final screw. Now, I hope you appreciate this wonderful, wonderful lighting, because I am suffering in 30-degree heat right now, and being British, that's 30 degrees C, not 30 degrees F. I have no idea what that is for anyone that lives in a country that still uses such a backwards measurement. Right, there we go. That's those screws done. Now for the all-important removal of the ribbon cable so that I don't completely brick the screen. So, I could do this with my hands, but I've got a lovely pair of thin-nosed tweezers. Just gonna pinch that there. Ooh. There we go, that's that one. Now I'll just rotate it this way. And, cool. These are stiff, there we go. And I'll lift this up by the cartridge holder and very lightly tug on this. Just very careful not to damage anything. And, whoop, nope, still, so just spin it over there. There we go. Right, and let's have a look at this side of the PCB. All looks pretty good. I mean, the speaker could do with a bit of a clean, so I'll do that in a minute. But I mean, everything else looks pretty pristine, all things considered. Right, and let's have a look at these silicone pads for the buttons. Bit grimy, but I mean, what are you going to expect? Bits of dust here and there. Gonna leave the screen in this one for now, because I don't fancy dealing with the adhesive at the moment. But yeah, cool. So, moving on to the next step. Right, however, don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I need to take this bit out so I can clean that separately. So, I'm just gonna take out all these screws, which I'm gonna put in a separate bin, because these are the only screws that are mildly different to the other screws. So I don't want to accidentally try and screw these into the PCB and possibly ruin anything. I don't know why I'm doing this with the wrong hand, but you know, I'm clearly doing it just so you can't see what I'm doing, because I'm vindictive and spiteful like that. Right, there we go, and then, cool. There we go. No, not quite. There we are. And then this final one here. There we are. And whoop. Just a very light tap. Ooh. There's a bit of a scratch there, but I might be able to buff some of that out. That'll be good fun. Right, just gonna yank out these. I'll give those a bit of a wipe, because there's just bits of grime and grot in them. I don't know about you, but I don't really fancy playing a game console that's covered in someone else's skin and hair. Ooh, this one's especially lovely and spotty. And then just tip it over for the buttons. Ooh, lovely. I have no idea what that is that's stuck in the power switch, but yummy. And look at that. Isn't that delicious? Just years and years of dead skin. Right, and then last step is just to try and wiggle this screen out for now. So I know I just said I didn't fancy dealing with the adhesive, but that was a lie. I'm going to do this off screen though, because I don't have the camera equipment to reasonably film me twisting this screen out. So I'll pop back with that. And here's the screen. I don't know about you, but there's just something that I find oddly attractive about these things. They look real damn good. There's just nice and shiny, got that good old LCD flair to them. Lovely little things. And now we're going to start cleaning up this PCB, starting with that lovely little speaker there. going to be using these bamboo cotton buds. So I like to be, you can tell I haven't got my YouTube unboxing practice in with how terribly I can open boxes. As you probably noticed in the last video, definitely not very good at opening boxes with one hand. Yeah, so good 400 of these, one very expensive on Amazon. And when I put these in the bin, I know that they're not going to be in the world forever. And then obviously we're going to be combining those lovely cotton buds with 99.9% isopropyl alcohol. So, exciting stuff. Now to start applying isopropyl alcohol to some earbuds. And just be careful, because this thing's a bit drippy. And very much so not in focus. There we go. Definitely didn't spill any on the table. There's no way that you can see that very clearly, that I dropped tons of it. Right, and now to just give this a swish around. Try and get some of that rust off of the thing. Which is kind of difficult when you consider that rust is some oxidized iron, and iron being a ferrous metal, and speakers involving magnets can be a bit difficult to get some of the rust off because it just gets stuck to the magnet. Just get right up in those tippy corners just to get some of that guck off. Oops, sorry, went up off the screen there. Gonna need some more alcohol. Do that off screen though, so I don't mess up as much whilst I try and do things with the viewfinder. There we go, nice and clear. And look at that, look at all that lovely, lovely brown sludge. Yum, 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 yum. Right, and now we're going to move on to some of those points of contact that just had some orangey grime on them, which, to be fair, wasn't this side, so just flip this over. Just going to have a look at these. I don't think there's anything to really take off, because I think this is all stuff that should be fine. But, you know, if it's going to be a see-through Gameboy, you want it to be nice and clean. So just dab the other end of this with some alcohol. Oh, jeez. And just give these a wipe. There we go, that's going away quite nicely. Shame that it's unravelling the cotton bud though, but that's more a me problem than an actual problem. Right, so there we go, look at that. Nice and clean. Now I'll just dab a little bit more on, and then we go on to the stuff near the top that needed some doing. Such as this whole panel here, really. Just be giving this dab, really. This is all far too small and spiky for me to really do any swiping around. Except for these bits up here that attach the LEDs. Well, I say LEDs, I believe that's for the infrared sensor at the top, so they're not really your standard LEDs, are they? Right, there we go, look at that. A little less orange. And now for the final bit is dealing with this power switch, because this one was a bit dicky. and wouldn't power on straight away the first time, so I'll just give that a wipe just to make sure everything's okay. Okay, and then we just swish, 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 just to get some of the gunk off. And then we just press it in to get a little bit of that in the actual workings, and then we just flick it left and right. There we go. And then, other than that, I think this PCB is pretty good. So I'll move on to the actual casing then. Now begins cleaning the outer shell, which we're going to start with some soapy water and then move on to standard water behind it. So just give it a nice dip and then give it a bit of a scrubby scrub underwater with a toothbrush. Then once I've done it under here, I'll move it up and do a bit more on camera, hopefully. Okey-doke, just take that out for now. You may have noticed a slight change in camera angle, but I've had to move some furniture to try and get a slightly better shot of what's going on here. Not that it's particularly interesting. Literally just me. Attacking a Gameboy with a toothbrush. But at the moment I don't have access to any of the scary chemicals I'd need to give this a proper super duper clean, but you know, it'll do something to get rid of some of the grime related yellowing. You've missed a small amount of me scraping this Gameboy with a toothbrush, but my phone ran out of storage and didn't make any sound, so you only missed about 10-20 seconds, so I'm sure none of my 14 views from the last video, if any of them returned for this video, give a damn, but you know, full transparency and all that. But yeah, so that's that bit done. So now I'm just gonna quickly go over this bit. I don't really know if I can be bothered to get too much soapy water, so I'll just dab it with the brush instead of moving the bowls around again, now that I know I have a bit of a time limit with how much more stuff I can record on this phone. But I mean, it's already far clearer than it was, so won't be hearing any complaints from me. And then for the final bit for this kind of clean, it's just a very quick go over of this metal cartridge protector. And there we go. Right. Now, however, it's time for the final gross but satisfying bit, where I finally remove all the grime from these little silicone pads. Just thumb it around, and then just a quick run over with the brush, should get most of it. There we go. Not quite sure if you can see in the focus because I can't see the actual screen, but there you go, look at that, far better. Now just moving on to the A and B button. Once again, just a quick thumb around. It's amazing the things you can do with your thumbs. Just a bit on that side. And now to finally get whatever that weird orange thing was off of this thing. honestly, it looks like another dead bug. Isn't that lovely? Got 2 free insects with my Game Boy. Lucky me. Lucky me. Oh, for the really gross bit, finally getting all this thumb. Just absolute 10% of a human being's thumb that was stuck to this thing. Get a bit of the soapy water on this one, I think, just for the principle of the thing. Oh no, there's still plenty of it there. And there we go. Look at that. No longer covered in orange grime. And just a quick run through of the start and select. Unfortunately, ran out of battery again. Memory space again. So sadly, you missed me with the most exciting bit where I was doing the start and the pause button. Ooh. But yeah, so I'll just quickly go through the A and B button because they're pretty much spotless. Scratchless they are not, but gunk and gook, they're pretty alright. And then finally, the last diddly bit, the infrared bar thing. I'll just do that just to get any dust off. And there we go. And now it's just time for me to blast everything with a hairdryer. Right, now for the ever exciting drying, which I'm definitely going to turn down the volume for because and that's the first bit done. Now just for the cartridge shield. Battery cover. Back cover. And then just to get rid of some of the excess liquid that I cannot be bothered to wait for the hairdryer to remove, just dry it through with this cloth. Right. See if I can wipe off some of this crud. I'm not sure if you can really see it, but there's like little white ghosty bits around there. See if I can wipe them off. Nah, looks like they're scratches, so I'm not going to be able to get rid of those. Okay, but it's definitely clearer, which is the main goal of what I was going for. Okay. And just button time. that's everything done. So, putting everything back together again. Full transparency though. So this obviously goes in this way, so that these little tabs here line up. But I've already done this bit, but had this one upside down, so having to redo it. There we go. Right, so I'll go through the same thing I went through last time. But obviously we put the screws in, but there's a little neck for making it so that the screws go into the same holes that they went in to start with. So you put it in here, and then you roll it backwards until you hear a tap. There we go. And that way you're not gonna be like constantly shredding the inside of these posts. And that way you're not gonna shatter anything or do any more damage to this than is necessary. So then just one more time for the tap. There we go. There we go, tap. And last screw. There we go. And now I'm just going to place all the buttons in their appropriate holes again, starting with the A button, and then the B button. Oh, wrong way. There we go, like that. And then put this wonderfully less disgusting D-pad back in. There we go. And then there's the start and select buttons, which I don't think they care which way around they go. Might be wrong. No reason to care. There we are. Now that I've got all the buttons in, it's time to put in the little silicone pads, which all the button areas like this D-pad here has these little posts. There's one here and one here, and these line up with the little holes on the outside of the circle, and that way you can make sure you always put them in the right way. They really did just make these things so anyone could take these apart and put them back together again. I don't imagine they wanted anyone to take them apart and anyone to put them back together. I'm sure they wanted you just to buy another one, but, you know. Makes it easier for the little engineers, it makes it easier for me. So there we go, that's the silicone pads back in. And now for the scary bit, where I have to put this screen back in, but make sure it's aligned properly, or else I'm going to end up with a screen that isn't centered. And that's just not on, really. But hopefully that'll be alright. We'll find out once we whack in the PCB. So just gonna safely lower this in. There we go. Make sure everything's all lined up. Yep, the power switch is lined up. All the little holes are in the right places. Double check the speaker is in. There we go. Speaker's in nice and properly. Okay, cool. Now just to slot in this ribbon cable, nice and carefully. Where have my tweezers gone? How dare my tweezers leave me? I'll be right back. There we go. Unlike my wife, my tweezers will leave me quite often. Ooh. Oh, there we go. Who needs tweezers anyway? I can do it. I'm an independent man. But we'll just use them for these bits for the sake of it, really. There we go. That's the first one. And then I don't know why I'm doing it at this angle, but hey ho. There we go. That's the ribbon cable back in. So there's the screen. And now it's just time to put in those Phillips screws. And I'll be using the same tapping trick as we did last time, where you rock it back. There we go. And then screw it in. Do the same with this one. There's a little tap. And then where's the last screw? I don't want to have to. There we go. And then once again, little tap. And then screw it back in. So there we go, there's the PCB on. And then we just plop that back. Get out the tri-wing screwdriver again, which didn't used to be magnetic, but suddenly has decided it is. And now we do the same thing once more. There we go, there's the tap. There's the tap. There it is. There it is. Fine. And then one more screw and we're back in business. Although looking at these screw holes, I will quickly just dab them with some IPA just to get rid of some last bits of grime. There's the tiny tap. There we are. I'll quickly grab some IPA and I'll be done. There we go. And just stick it in the hole. Stick it in this hole. And that one. And finally that one. And there we go, that's got rid of the last bits of the grime. Now for my personal favourite bit, where we test to make sure everything works. I'm just going to use this copy of Pokemon Blue. So 3, 2, 1. Ah, that's a bit garbled. Let's try that again. There we go. Must just been a bit of good old-fashioned blow and pray. Yeah, there we go. Perfectly working Game Boy. And a lot clearer than it used to be. A lot less of that yellow guck and no more grime under all the buttons. Well, thanks for watching and enjoy.